Get ready for the Squawking Eagles Podcast, the show that covers only the Philadelphia Eagles. Think different. Think Squawking Eagles Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Squawking Eagles Podcast. Today, I am joined by Miguel. Welcome back, buddy.
What's going on?
And Mark.
How's it going? Let's go, Birds.
Yeah, we missed you last week, Miguel. I was calling Mark Miguel because so used to starting it off with that. And so
yeah. I know.
We're good. Now we're good.
My job was holding me hostage. I'm surprised.
Hey, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But last week we made it. Mark and I made our nominations for the Flying Eagle Awards that our podcast puts out.
Okay.
It's the third time we're doing it, and so what we're going to do is we're going to give you an opportunity to vote. The voting has been out for the past week. It is done.
Okay.
All the results are in. I'll be posting them on our Instagram page next week. For anybody who's not, whoever is not following us on Instagram, you're going to find out now. And then we'll see how you are gauging the audience. See how well you're in tune with the audience.
All right.
And then we'll talk a little bit NFL Combine. Mark did a mock draft. And we'll
1.0.
1.0. I actually I just did one. I found one where you can trade players as well. And so I was able to trade and get a player that may or may not want to come to the Eagles. We'll see what happens. And then we'll end it with our recap of the year, because this is our closing episode of the year. We're going to take a few weeks off. I guess we're going to take a couple vacations. Apparently, all of us.
Yep.
Separately, not together.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Sooner or later, the podcast will be paying for our vacations.
Well, I think we all like different things too. Because where is your vacation to?
I'm going to the Poconos.
Okay, I'm going to the Rockies.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to El Salvador.
See?
Nice. It's very different. Very different.
Very different. I'm not gonna lie. El Salvador. I mean, I've been to Poconos pretty often, so El Salvador sounds really nice.
Yeah, El Salvador is nice. So yeah. Hey, but if our fans keep buying T-shirts and magnets and hats from our store, we're gonna be going to El Salvador next year. So
we're out.
Hey,
especially if we keep getting our subscribers on YouTube. We're almost at 1,000. 1,000 kicks in the ad revenue. So let's get us to 1,000.
That push 4,000. Let's go.
It's coming. We just hit last week when we were talking. We were at 830. This is 830 last week. We're at 884 as we hit the record button. So that's
subscribe, turn your notes on, all that good King.
All that stuff. Yeah.
And so
in order to keep that going on YouTube, we're going to start doing some Madden simulations to put up there. I'm going to do another simulation for a whole year to get us kind of give us some more, our new NFL that we do, where we geographically made the NFL of what it should be. And so we already have 2 winners. Maybe we're going to do another win. I'll do another one next week or in a couple of weeks.
I was saying, Madden, you can rearrange the conferences, right? I
don't think, not in this Madden.
I think you can in one of the Maddens.
In older Maddens, you can. They say in the new one, the 2026 one, you're going to be able to. They said.
Of course, let me take something out, put it back. That's the Madden way to make money.
Yeah, so I will definitely. That'll be fun to be able to do that next year. Let's talk the NFL Combine here.
All right.
They just had some interviews. A lot of teams are putting in suggestions for rule changes. The most common one that I guess Eagles fans are keying in on is what they call the tush push or the brotherly shove. There was an anonymous team, and then obviously it got leaked out that it was actually the Green Bay Packers who complained that they want the tush push banned. It's bad for the game. People get hurt. The Bills head coach McDermott said that everybody's getting injured when they're trying to do it. They should ban it. And then a day later, the NFL comes out and says 0 people got injured last year during.
Be more specific, Mike. It was Troy Vincent of the NFL, the VP.
Thank you.
Of the NFL, come out to say there was no injuries.
0 injuries. 0. Now, Troy Vincent did play. Hometown Trenton High graduate, hometown Eagle, head of this rules committee, has said, there's nobody's getting hurt during the tush push, brotherly shove, or whatever the Eagles call it. They won't tell us.
Right.
So any reactions, Mark? You got a reaction to that? You have a reaction to Green Bay? We saw there's images of Jordan Love trying to do the shove, and it doesn't look great.
I mean, honestly, it's a QB sneak modified, right? Every team, since it's been allowed, has attempted it, some more successful than others. As was explained on, was it Good Morning Football by Neil deGrasse Tyson, it comes down to mass. Anyone who plays football knows that by a millisecond, the offensive line, as long as they're paying attention, has an advantage on the first half second of every play because they know when the ball is being snapped. So as long as they're paying attention, they know exactly when they're allowed to move, where defense has to react. We happen to have the biggest O-line. We happen to have a very well-coached O-line. It's a play that works for those reasons. Other teams have big quarterbacks. They have good O-lines. They've had success with it. Sometimes you have a weak O-line, or you don't have a big quarterback, or you don't have the biggest O-line. It doesn't work. Okay. It's going to vary. Right now, we've got a huge O-line and team that worked. It's going to work. In a year or two, imagine a couple injuries, or a few years, some players retire, some other players come in. Maybe we don't have the same O-line. It doesn't always work. They've already changed it to where we have to start further back before we're allowed to push anyone. If anything's going to change to the rules when it comes to the tush push, I think it's got to go on the defensive side. If you're going to dive over the middle, there has to be some kind of safety program. The only chance of injury I'm seeing is when they're diving at the quarterback's head, not just Jalen. I've seen it at Josh Allen too. Right. These linebackers are diving over, and they're either hitting them in the head or, like I watched with Jalen against, I think it was Dallas, they grab the back of his helmet to bring him down. No calls. And every time I've seen that play almost all year, if you look down the line, by the rules of the game, you have to see a gap. There has to be a gap between the two teams.
Right, and
there's really almost no gap. The defense helmets are
very little.
They know it's coming. They line up right in there, and the refs don't bother. If the refs aren't going to call that, you're already getting the advantage you want, D-line. If you can't stop it, figure it out. You know what? I'll do you one better. When we lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago, everyone complained about that baloney defensive holding call.
Mm-hmm.
And what did everyone say to us? Take the refs out the game. Shouldn't come down to one play with the refs.
Yeah.
Okay. By that mentality, if you don't want us on 4th and 1 to get that first down, don't let us get that close. Get better. Stop us at 4th and 4. We don't go for it beyond 4th and 3. We don't. We've never done it. If you can get us to 4th and 3 or worse, we're not going to run the play.
Yeah.
So do your job, and you're good. If you can't do your job, shut up, sit down, be humble. You're lost.
Well, Nick Sirianni, they asked him that question about what is his thoughts, and I want to hear what your thought, Miguel, is. Nick Sirianni said he's insulted. He's insulted that teams for the 3rd straight year in a row are trying to get this play banned, and it's still not banned. As an Eagles fan, Miguel, how do you feel that these teams are trying to take away a play that has been your bread and butter for a good amount of years?
I can't remember the gentleman's name that said it on, I think it was on the ESPN's First Take. But he said that it's soft. You guys are soft. You can't stop a play. It's not like we're doing it every freaking down. You know what I mean?
Right.
I could see if the Eagles, first of all, they average at least 2 yards every time they try it. So if they were to do it 4 times in a row, you know what I mean?
It's only 8 yards, and so it's still not a first down.
Exactly. So it's not like we're marching up and down the field for it, right?
Yeah.
But because you can't stop it, sorry, my battery's dying here. Hold on. Because you can't stop it, you want to complain about it, and it makes you soft.
Mhm.
And it's come to the point where it to me it's just a joke. It's like if it was your team, they wouldn't be saying this, but because they're not successful in doing it, which I don't know if you guys, I think I sent it to you guys, was like a highlight of all the teams that have attempted to try the tush push.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
either failed or, didn't got minimal result. And it's not so much of it's what they want to get rid of is the pushing.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of pushing the tight end or the
Quarterback. Yeah.
But
They
it's
do
like-
it. They do it other aspects of the game.
That's what I was just about to say. They do it in other aspects of the game where a tight end or a running back is going for some extra yardage, and the linemen are pushing their runner. So it's like if you're gonna ban the tush push, you got to ban all of that. And then how are you gonna enforce that? Is that going to be a penalty yardage or loss of down? Like what is that going to look like?
Yeah, that's even more policing and leaving it in the ref's hands. So,
Exactly.
you push the tush a little bit, 5-yard penalty. You're like that's going to be too much.
I'm all for keeping the game out of the ref's hands.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to take a little bit more out of the ref's hands by adding, I guess, the digital markers rather than the chain gang. The chain gang is going to be there, but they're going to use computer-generated
The Sony
measurements
track system.
Yeah, so
Chipping
that's
the
going to be
ball,
interesting.
which I think has been long needed. I think just look at the Bills game.
Yeah,
chipping the ball tells you it's a first down.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I like that.
We're seeing it a lot now. Like baseball went to in spring training. They have the AI strike zone now. Like you can argue balls and strikes and say, hey, that was a ball, and they can go and look and see if it was. And so it's been accurate and not accurate. So
It'll
see.
Get better with time.
It will.
I will say one thing I did see about possible rule changes was the kickoff. Mm-hmm. I have said early on at the start of the season when I saw the new kickoff, I was like, look, I get it. Lack of injury. Cool. However, I knew by about mid-season, which is exactly what I thought was going to happen, a lot of teams have said, you know what? What's the 30-yard line? Kick it to the end zone. Who cares?
Yeah.
Now they're discussing moving that. If you hit in the end zone, it's going to be a 35.
Yeah, that's what they should 40. Do.
And I'm all for it. So, make it the 40. Make it so teams go, we need to force the return.
Yeah.
Because I'm not giving you the 40-yard line.
Right. It puts more skill into the kick. It gives it more of a solid, like, this is an important thing. It's an important play. If you fuck it up, you're going to give us terrible position on defense. So
I'm interested to see, because I know they said they're looking at doing changes to the onside kick as well. Because they said since having to announce it, like nobody runs it.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would they?
Maybe we need to change it. I personally was shocked to not see it all season. But I really expected the swim kick to be a big thing because the thing is, the moment the ball touches the ground, you're allowed to run.
Yeah, as long as you get in that that drop zone.
Yeah, if you can get it just the edge of that zone, if you as a kicker.
Yeah, we talked about it. You brought that up earlier in the year, and I thought it was a good point. And you're right, you didn't see many of that. You didn't see many of that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Maybe next year because now they see what it's like, and that they're gonna maybe they'll be curious about what they can do.
Yeah.
Howie they talked about Howie, what he's going to be doing in the offseason, and he told Eagles fans to be patient, and he's got plans, and he said the most important year is next year, so he's ready to go. He already knows that this year is an important year. There's a lot of free agents on the Eagles roster. We were talked about a little bit about Josh Sweat, Mekhi Becton, Zach Bond, Burks or Burks, Isaiah Rodgers is one. Quite a few, and so the Eagles are at I guess always at a crossroads here. But we could do like a stay or go.
Well, real quick, I gotta say, since Miguel wasn't here last week,
I
want to know Miguel's opinion. If you can keep 2 of our current free agents, who are you keeping?
I'm keeping Becton, and I'm keeping I'm gonna keep Milton Williams.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the Becton pick. I'm leaning towards Zach Bond.
The only reason I go not Zach Bond is because we already have N'Kobe Dean comes back healthy. We have N'Kobe Dean, and then we have Trotter back there as well.
True. I do agree with that. It's a good look. I like your picks.
There's a point where I think the Eagles are going to definitely make a trade this offseason, and I think they already know that Josh Sweat's going to be gone. Which, there's somebody on Instagram, Eagles Avenue, I believe it is. They posted some content about Josh Sweat leaving and free agency, and Josh Sweat commented question mark underneath his content, and we were like, whoa. Maybe he's not going to go anywhere. Maybe he'll take a hometown deal and stay. With the new salary cap, I think the Eagles could be like with a few cuts, a few restructures. Like they got to cut James Bradbury, restructure Lane Johnson, extend Cam Jurgens. They could have like $32 million of cap room.
What's the restructuring of Smith? I think they're already over 40, aren't they?
I just read it recently. I don't think if that's without restructuring him.
I know, but they already did restructure Smith, right? Devontae Smith
recently?
Yeah, didn't they just do it the other week?
No,
I thought they did.
No. What they can do is they can extend Cam Jurgens, restructure Lane Johnson, cut James Bradbury by June 1st. And I can't remember what the last one was. So I can't remember off the top of my head. But we could bring them into like 31 million. So
they
could essentially. I would love them to keep Zach Bond. Milton Williams made I think a lot of money for himself during the Super Bowl, and so what I think the Eagles are going to have to do in this draft, and I think this is what's going to lead us into your mock draft that you did. I'm interested to see what you selected. Because I did one over I listened to the Fanatic and they talked about where they think the Eagles' needs are. And I'd like to hear what you guys think their needs are. Is that they're going to need linebackers again because Zach Bond. Yeah, they're going to need linebackers. Like Zach Bond could go. N'Kobe Dean is coming off an knee injury. Van Smerten, he had another knee injury.
Did you see what he said about his knee injury? Dean?
No.
Yeah,
so he said
his kneecap went up into his thigh.
His kneecap was in his thigh. Yeah, he pushed it back where it was, stood up, and it went back into his thigh. The whole patella just.
Wow.
Oh, that's so gross.
Oh man.
And he was like, "Oh man!"
So there's a lot. So there's a lot of reconstruction going on right there. Like his kneecap is in a different part of his body.
Remember, you're better than Embiid's knee.
We don't talk about that guy on this channel at this moment. Yeah, don't get me started on that.
You were talking about surgeries and you're talking about drafts. The first thing I got to bring up is all the news story happening around Penn State and the local boy there in Abdul Carter.
Okay, that's where I was leading. That's where I was leading to. Let me just finish my thought and then we'll
go ahead.
Okay. So like I said, so they do have these injuries at linebacker, which like I said, N'Kobe Dean and Van Smerten, I think his name is, and they possibly losing Zach Bond. So they're going to go into this draft, I think, looking for a linebacker. So when I did my mock draft, I was trying to get a top linebacker. I drafted a guy from South Carolina, Texas A&M, Nico Soudern.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But there's talks that number one overall pick, possibly Abdul Carter, who wants to be. He was talking about how he went to the Super Bowl because it was his last time being an Eagles fan, because he's going to be drafted by an NFL team and he can't be a fan of another team. He's saying, I guess, right?
Smart man, I get it.
Right. So, but there's apparently that he has a stress fracture in his foot that's going to cause him to maybe not even partake in the combine. And he drop to midway in the first round? And is that a possibility that Howie magic happens and he goes up and gets him? While
we are all at this agreement that Abdul Carter would be amazing in Eagles green. With everything coming out about that injury, Abdul Carter ends up as a Tennessee Titan with the number 1 overall pick. He doesn't drop it all.
They still take him.
No, he's
too
good. He's literally the best player in the draft by a long shot. Injury or not, this man is going to be playing week 1 in the NFL in powder blue as a Titan. There's no question in my mind.
I don't see him. I don't see him coming to Philly at all.
I see him coming to Philly in like 5 years after his contract's up. He wants to play in Philly.
Maybe.
But draft-wise, never. No way. I honestly don't think he falls top 5. I think he stays 1 because you could argue that Tennessee needs a quarterback. If you really watch college football, Cam Ward's pretty good. I don't think Sanders has his ups and downs. Like,
apparently, Sugar Sanders isn't going to be at the combine. That's what I heard.
Some of them aren't. Yeah, a lot of times. Recently, they haven't. Some of these star players, they'll just do their own pro days. They don't want to be at the combine with the pressure and all that because whatever. I don't think this is a good quarterback year. I did a PFF mock draft, 3 rounds.
It's a defensive tackle, very high. There's a lot of tackles.
Yeah, I think I have 4 or 5 quarterbacks going in 3 rounds, which is more than I think I originally meant to, but it happens. I've Abdul Carter going off the board first things first.
Yeah.
Unless some crazy trade offers come in, which I don't think are going to happen right now. I think as great as Abdul Carter is, I don't think because right now no team has more than 1 pick in round 1 this year.
That's cool.
So I don't think anyone really has the capital to trade up enough that Tennessee would be worth getting rid of Abdul Carter.
All right. So tell me, I have a question to ask you guys. But let's hear what your first pick by the Eagles is. Trades or no trades?
No trades.
So what was the mock?
Mainly because PFF does not allow trades unless you pay for it.
Well, I have another one that you can use.
I was going to have the Eagles trade anyway. I have them under the mindset that Sweat does leave and possibly Milton Williams.
That's my thought.
Jack Sawyer from Ohio State, solid edge rusher. It's a considered reach because he is technically ADP around like 40, but at 32, our picks, our options are limited. And I'd rather reach for 40 than go with any other guys that are in the area because none of the other guys really fit the bill.
I'm surprised you picked it. You went for Ohio State there too.
When it comes to the NFL, the hatred changes. I will say the other picks, there's a pick or so in here that might feel a little biased. It's not. I went over this whole thing with like 2 other people. And when it came to the Eagles, we discussed very much who was available, who was the best talent. And I can tell you there may be an Oregon player in my 2nd or 3rd round that came to the Eagles.
Yeah, I did. I picked an offensive lineman from Oregon.
See, I didn't know. See, the offensive line didn't make it to the Eagles for me.
Wow.
Because
I'll send you the app I use.
Okay.
So there's been talks about Myles Garrett. Obviously, he wants to be traded from the Browns. He doesn't think that they can win. There's been talks.
Extension today.
What's that?
He denied a contract extension today.
Yeah, he doesn't want to stay there. He knows that they're not going to win, and that also puts the Browns in a tough spot because they're not going to get a huge return because they know that he doesn't want to play there. He doesn't want to be there. The Commanders have become a team of interest, and because of that, they say Howie has jumped in, and he is likely to worm his way in and get Myles Garrett.
I don't think so.
Do you want Myles Garrett? Miguel, let me hear.
I want to hear Miguel.
Miguel, I want to hear Miguel. Miguel, do you? It's going to probably cost a player or 2. Well, when I did it on a mock draft trade, I had to get 2 players and 2 draft picks for just him.
So
it was. What'd you say?
I have fucking mice over here. Yeah.
So I had to get. I lost 2 players and 2 picks. The first pick of the first round, and I think I did a 3rd round. It was Johan Dotson and a Bryce Huff for Myles Garrett. That's what I did. Is that too much in your mind, Miguel?
Bryce
or
Huff and who else?
Johan Dotson.
John.
Johan
I mean,
Dotson.
they're-
Johan Dotson.
first they're not gonna take that. That's not what they're gonna want back. If it's just players, no, it's not. If they're not gonna take that.
And two draft picks. And 2 draft picks too.
And 2 draft picks. I mean, I personally am willing to give up this year's first round and next year's first round because it's gonna be in the 30s, hopefully 32 again next year.
Yeah, probably
100%. A lot of people say that's not enough either. That they're gonna want a player because what they're saying is that Washington is our main competition about getting him, so we have to kind of go above and beyond what they're able to give, right?
Yeah.
So it's like what player is going to put us over the top, or what offer is going to put them over the top? And basically, out of those 2 people that you just mentioned, I don't have a problem with letting go. But if it's going to cost more than that, it's like anything more than that will hurt our team.
Yeah.
Overall. So no, it's not enough. I do want Myles Garrett, but I mean,
what's too much though? What's too much for you to give up? Like 3 players, 4 players, 4 draft picks. Like,
but it's who we're giving up is the key. Who are we giving up?
Right. Well, we're not gonna. I don't see us trading any offensive linemen, right? No defensive linemen, right?
Nope.
Possibly a corner, maybe Keely Ringo, maybe Eli Ricks. Definitely not Quinion or Cooper DeJean. That's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's Howie's got a tough. He's got a tough thing right there.
Yeah, he's got a tough task ahead to try to sway.
The Browns have traded him to the Philadelphia, the world champions.
I look at the roster and I'm like, I don't really want to part with anybody that's already on this roster unless it's the one that you said, and maybe Bradbury. I can't think of anybody else that I would be like okay with parting with. Like,
yeah, it's tough.
I'm sorry.
I love that. I love this team. I love this team.
Kenny Gainwell is going to be a free agent, so it's not like we can add him onto that. But I'd throw Kenny Gainwell in there, but that's not going to happen.
Wow, that's coming a lot from you.
I know, playoff Kenny.
Yeah. Cool. What are you have a quick thought, Mark?
Yeah, like with the offer you proposed, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But they're not going to take that offer.
Yeah.
I could see Howie trying to kind of up the ante a little bit, try to throw some stuff around to make Washington have to give up more. Yeah. But we're not getting Myles Garrett. I just don't think so. I just don't think we don't have the players to get rid of. Like, one of the greatest things about our team is the depth and the players we have. As great as he is, we would have to give up probably more than what might be worth it.
Yeah, but is it worth to give up more to keep him from going to Washington?
Yeah, I'm not too like. Yeah, it sucked to play him twice a year. Every year he is great, and
possibly once in the playoffs too, right?
Yeah, but I just I really like our O line.
Yeah,
and
they handled him this year. He didn't really have a
he had 2 tackles for loss against us. That was pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to give up a Sweat, but I could give up.
Well, Sweat's a free agent, so you can't even put Sweat into it.
That's true. But if we lost Sweat, we gave up Huff. We gave up, who else was on the Jahan Dotson?
Yeah.
If we give up those 2, we give up the first pick, we give up next year's first.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And maybe this year's third.
Mm-hmm.
I'd consider that. I don't
that's
know.
Enough. That's enough to give up.
I don't know if that's enough for Cleveland, though.
Right.
Because you are talking about a Hall of Fame talent.
I know, but you're also like they're in a tough position too, because they know, like, everybody knows that Myles Garrett does not want to play for them anymore.
I tell you what, though, with that trade, it plays kind of into my later 2 picks.
Okay. So who do you pick in the second round?
There's a lot, obviously, people listening, watching. Remember, I did all 32 teams with other people from other fan bases.
Okay.
having their opinion on who they would want or who they think their team would need. We did research. I've been at this for like 4 hours.
Right.
Okay. Going over what teams need, what players excel in what setups they're in. The only teams I didn't do a hard research into was the Cowboys because I don't care about the Cowboys.
Right.
I looked at what's recommended their best needs, and that's what we went with. For instance, why we did a lot of this research, according to PFF, the number one need for the Bengals, if you haven't seen it, someone take a guess. What do you think their number one? If you were to assess the Bengals this past year, what would you say their most important need is?
I think they have two important needs, but one is offensive line, but probably defensive help.
Okay. I 100% believe in both of those.
Yeah.
According to PFF, their number one need is wide receiver.
No, see, I don't. That's why that's why
I don't use PFF's baloney. The only one I use that for was the Cowboys. Everyone else I did research into because I actually wanted to make this realistic.
Wow, that's wild.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time on this. It was crazy. When it got to our second pick at 64. Now, yes, we already had Jack Sawyer. However, I'm a big believer in this retooling of our O-line, our D-line, and always drafting this core area. And I talked to a few of my buddies, and they said, you know what we really need? We need to continue solidifying the edge because we trust Jalen Carter. We trust Jordan Davis.
Mm-hmm.
We trust Moro Ajomo. If we can keep Milton Williams, amazing. Nolan Smith, I like. Jalix Hunt looks good. But if we lose Sweat, we don't trust Huff. BG is getting older. So it's our edge is kind of thin. So we take Sawyer, and then we double down, and we took Oregon star Jordan Birch, who somehow fell to us. And so we doubled down on defensive ends, edge rushers that just give us that pressure because that pressure has destroyed the offenses all year.
Right. Yeah, and you're building through the trenches right there.
Building through the trenches. And then surprisingly, your trade offer included Jahan Dotson, our current third-string receiver. And this is where I'm going to hate, and it's okay. We discussed on the third pick for the Eagles at pick 96, what do they need? And we thought about linebacker.
Yeah.
We thought, we kind of like who we have. We really believe in Zach Bond staying. We thought about all our positions. And we said our thinnest part after line is surprisingly receiver. Because Wilson did not look great. Anaya Smith did not look great.
Right.
No one was there. Like if it wasn't Smitty and it wasn't Brown, nobody was there outside of our tight ends.
Right.
And so the best available receiver when it got to us in pick 96 was Oregon's Tez Johnson, who again, bias,
right,
but understanding his role would be phenomenal on that lineup because he has the talent to be a number 2, but he would be our 3. And I think that would absolutely be exceptional for this team.
Those are solid 3 picks. It adds all the depth that the Eagles are going to lose in free agency, basically.
That's what we went for.
Yeah. These aren't terrible. Like I'm not saying I'm not. I'm going to. There's going to be tons more research done and mock drafts done. But for the first one that you did, this is the first one.
Yeah.
I did a real quick one earlier this morning. I made a few trades. I traded a couple of draft picks, but not till later on. I just took Nick Scourton from Texas A&M, linebacker, edge rusher.
Okay.
And then I took.
Wait, where did you take him?
At 32.
At 32.
Yep.
I just want to look at where he went in mine. All right, I had him at 29 to Washington if they don't get Myles Garrett. That was the agreement there.
Yeah, see, that's the reason why I take him. I don't take him because we trade that pick for Myles Garrett.
Okay.
And then to replace Milton Williams, I take defensive line from Oregon, Jordan Birch.
Okay.
At 64. And then I took another Oregon guy at 96, Anjay Cornelius.
Okay. I like Cornelius. Yeah. He did not get drafted in mine.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the scariest draft I did, or in my opinion, the first pick that was the most, I guess, the biggest damage could bring.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions at 28 got Jalen Walker out of Georgia.
Yeah.
I thought if that defense is healthy and you add Walker to it,
yeah, it's a good defense. Yeah,
that becomes real scary.
And then I got a replacement for Kenny Gainwell. I pick 169. I take Trevor Etienne from
Really?
Georgia. Yeah.
I'm not touching Etienne.
No, because of his name or because of his.
He's just not that good.
Not that good. What was it? And a couple other guys. Another couple other guys. I got Anthony Belton from NC State. Jay Higgins.
Wait, where'd you get him?
At 129.
I have him at 89.
Wow.
Yeah. No, he's going to the Texans.
Yeah, I got him at 129. I got Jay Higgins from Iowa, 162. Okay. And then my last pick is at 240, Upton Stout.
Now, did you just do the Eagles, or did you do the whole, or did you do like everything?
I just did the Eagles, and then
the
auto draft everything else. Yeah.
Here's a quick question. I got to hear it.
Yeah.
Top 5 quarterbacks drafted by your auto draft, and where did they go?
Let me see if I can pull that up for you. I saved it.
We had a lot of arguments between me and my friends.
Yeah.
And we settled on the Browns making the Browns decision.
But should they take Shedeur? Like the first quarterback was Shedeur Sanders.
For us, they took Cam Ward.
Okay.
And the Giants at the very next pick did the Giants thing and took Shedeur Sanders.
Okay. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders went to the Giants. I'm trying to boot it up here. I saved it, but then I got my phone. I'll have to text it to you. I'll text you later.
My next quarterback taken was pick 73, which is owned by the Raiders, who I think had a very good draft under me.
Yeah.
But their final pick in the top 3 rounds I'm allowed to touch was Will Howard, Ohio State, to be repaired up with Chip Kelly.
Oh, jeez. That would make sense.
It makes sense. If you think of the quarterbacks who are left, it makes the most sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
After him, my buddy said the Cowboys had. I forgot about this one. My buddy said, "I don't care about the Cowboys. They're drafting DJ Ugalele from Florida State. Plays Dak." That was one of the only baloney picks we took. I was overruled, and the Steelers were given Dylan Gabriel by my friend group, Oregon quarterback. And then we had the Jets take Jalen Milroe out of Alabama.
Wow.
And I believe that was
the Jets take him. Wow.
Yeah, that was all the quarterbacks I think we had drafted in the top 3 picks. I would love to see DJ Ugalele go to the Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah, in the draft, the Cowboys take the Boise running back gently.
Ooh, so see that's where it changes drastically for me. So the Raiders, obviously with their early pick, a lot of people have them going for, Travis Hunter if he's available or one of the quarterbacks. Well, in my draft, Hunter just went off the board.
Yeah.
The quarterbacks are gone. And my thought process was Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll are there. Pete Carroll's smart. Let's give him his due.
Yeah.
He's going to talk to Chip. Chip's going to tell him, hey, look, we can probably go with a 3rd or 4th round pick and get Howard and feel good at quarterback.
Yeah.
So they take Ginty. Like I said, the Raiders had a draft.
Because if the Eagles, the Raiders can't do that because apparently the Raiders are in the talks for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Well, then they also, in pick 37, round 2, they got Beck Beach, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I don't trust him. He's a TCU receiver. However, if he pans out, which none of them ever have, they'll have a nice star receiver, an absolute monster tight end, a menace at running back, and then it doesn't really matter who quarterback is.
So, this is only our first one, so we're gonna.
There's gonna be changes.
A lot. There's gonna be a lot of changes.
Yeah, we'll see how the
last year
go. The pro
last
days.
year we had. I think I got up to 5 mock drafts at the end by the draft day.
I'll have another one by this weekend.
All right, let's go. Let's move on to our nominations here.
We got to hear Miguel's votes.
I want to hear Miguel's votes. see where he lands with our picks in the audience, and then we'll close it out.
All right.
So our first pick, our first set of nominations. So what we did this year is Mark and I nominated players and plays, and then we put out the vote on Instagram for our subscribers to vote on who they feel is going to is worthy of winning the award. So the first one we did was Comeback Player of the Year. We put out 2: Nakobe Dean, who was hurt, and CJ Gardner-Johnson, who wasn't hurt, but he was hurt in Detroit, but came back, as in come back to Philly to win it all for us. So if between those two guys, who would you vote for? Who would you have voted for?
Well, Comeback Player of the Year, I always interpret as a injury comeback, not as
right. Mark had a nice little fun with it.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to Kobe Dean if that's the case.
And that's what the people did. The people picked Nakobe Dean. I don't think nobody.
That makes me happy. I like it. Dean.
It was close. It was 56 to 44%. 56.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it was close.
Mm-hmm.
Our next one was our offensive rookie of the year. We had Will Shipley, Johnny Wilson, and Anais Smith. And what's cool is Will Shipley. He voted. He voted in this set of nominations, and I'll let you know who he picked after you select yours.
Only because I feel like he got more opportunities during the season. Remember hearing his name more during the season, and only Shipley's only heard a couple times in the playoffs, and I would have to go with Wilson.
Yeah, so that's who Will Shipley voted for. Will Shipley voted for Johnny Wilson,
right?
But the majority voted for Will Shipley. 83%, and I thought that was pretty cool. Will Shipley voting on our nominations.
Great.
That was kind of cool.
He's going to be the backup running back next year. No more Candy.
No more Candy.
Nope.
So our next one was this was a fun one. It was probably hard too for everybody, but it's Defensive Rookie of the Year. We had Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I had to put him in there because it's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Quinyon Mitchell. Now this was a tough one because two of these guys really had a breakout year, and Jalix Hunt just had a breakout Super Bowl.
Right.
What you're saying by that is two of these players probably had all votes.
Yeah, I'm going Quinyon Mitchell.
Okay, so you would have gone Quinyon. 29% people picked Quinyon. Dijon got 67% of the votes.
Really?
And the only reason that probably is because he had more big plays, more impactful plays, right?
Correct.
As Quinyon was shutting down his receivers, so the quarterbacks weren't throwing his way. So
right, so that's a good thing. Like you want your players you want to hear his name to be said at all. Like
you want to be an island.
Yeah, if you hear Quinyon Mitchell's name a lot, that means he's getting picked on. But
I will say, if I remember correctly, statistically, I think Cooper technically had a better year because he allowed less receptions.
Yeah,
but he also wasn't covering starting players,
and he also didn't start. He didn't start game one either, too.
I personally also voted for Quinyon, knowing though that especially with recency bias too. Cooper's had a huge game in the Super Bowl, so
I would have also picked Quinyon Mitchell, but the thing is though, Cooper didn't play the whole year. He didn't play because he was hurt, so he didn't start until I think week 4 or 5.
Well, then we also were trying to start other players. You know, we wanted to see what the other guy we kind of still thought we had. Secondary, and it's like, well, look, the rookies are better than all of our starters.
Right. Our next one would have been Defensive Player of the Year. So we had 4. We had Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, and CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Read the 3 names again, or 4 names?
Zach Bond. Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, and CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Goes Zach Bond.
Yeah, Zach Bond was an overwhelming 78% of the vote. yeah, the people know that he was the guy. He was the guy that helped that defense get to where it was. Offensive player of the year.
Baloney on this one. I'm just saying it right now. It's baloney on this one. Go ahead.
Offensive player of the year we put in as Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, the entire O-line, or Devontae Smith.
Oof.
Is offensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year. Now, who would you vote for? I think that's the question. Like, who would you vote for? It's tough. It's tough.
That's a hard one. Oh man. Part of me wants to give it to the old line.
Right?
That's why I call baloney.
I feel like it's gonna be a lot of people. My second pick would be Jalen.
Okay.
So, but I feel like everybody went Saquon.
Yeah, everybody did go Saquon.
Yeah.
It was 67%, but the O-line did get 13% of the votes. So,
hey, they deserve some votes. Which is why I was like, if it was player, to me, it's got to be Saquon.
Yeah.
But when there's a whole O-line,
O-line,
of course they get the credit.
I thought that was different. I thought that was cool. Like, they did a remarkable job. So I thought that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I agree with Miguel on that one.
Yeah. What's the next one up here? So we did top plays of the regular season. We took top plays of the playoffs and then top play of the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And so so with the regular season, it was Saquon's hurdle. I know you had a hard time thinking of these, so that's why it was good that Mark and I were here. We kind of came up with them. So we had the Saquon's hurdle.
Okay.
We had Devontae Smith's one-hand catch against the Jaguars in the back of the end zone.
Uh-huh.
We had Saquon Barkley's 2 massive runs against the Rams on Thursday Night Football.
In the snow. Uh-huh.
And also Saquon Barkley's first ever Eagles touchdown in San Juan, Brazil.
You mean St. Paul?
San Paulo, sorry. 12:27 at night, my guy.
Only because it's an iconic moment in football. The hurdle has to win for me.
Yeah, hands down, 52%. But also, Smitty's got a 33%. So Smitty was right there.
I think that play is overshadowed because of the hurdle, because that was unreal.
Yeah,
you watch
the same game.
And you're like,
yeah,
they were in the same game. They were in the same game.
That catch was nasty.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good one.
Next one up is playoffs. So we got
playoffs.
Jalen Hurts's. This is just playoffs. So Jalen Hurts's TD run against the Rams in the snow. Saquon Barkley's 2 snowy runs in the snow, touchdowns. Saquon's touchdown against the Washington on the first play from scrimmage from them. And Mark put this in here, the kickoff fumble recovery against the Packers that set a tone. This was a close one.
That was a good one, Mark.
Thank you. It felt right.
Yeah.
Man, I really want to vote for. I'm gonna vote for Jalen.
You got it. Jalen Hurts was that one by 33%. Where the other 2, Saquon's opening TD and the snow touchdowns at 29%. It was close.
Wow. Well, that's very close.
That's nice.
Very close. Very close. But Jalen's touchdown run against the Rams was the top play of that.
I like Jalen's touchdown too, because it was one of those where it was like, one of those you knew they were like, we're gonna cover Saquon. And he said, "You forgot about me."
And then he threw guys off him. He threw guys off him, and they ran away from them.
Right.
That was the Jalen I like to see running.
Yeah,
100%.
And then the next one would have been Super Bowl plays. So it was Cooper DeJean's pick 6 on Patrick Mahomes, Zach Bond's interception of Patrick Mahomes, the dagger, we like to call it, whereas Jalen Hurts passed to the end zone to go up 34-0.
Mm-hmm.
And then Maddox's pass deflection on 4th down to set up the dagger.
You also had a strip sack in there.
And we had strip sack too.
of Pat Mahomes.
Of Patty Mahomes.
Man, that was
great.
too.
I love it's the push in the face from Jalen Carter that really makes that play even better.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I love it.
I'm gonna go Cooper DeJean's pick 6.
Yeah, overwhelmingly 71% chose that.
Yeah.
And then our last one.
Just because how magical that was too. It's his birthday, it's Super Bowl, he's a rookie, like everything just
it's amazing. It's
and
then we had our last one is our Eagles team MVP. We have 4 players option for that. Saquon Barkley was the first one. Saquon Barkley was the second one. Saquon Barkley was the third one, and Saquon Barkley was the fourth one.
Oh boy.
I believe you read that wrong, but I'll give it to you.
So who was it?
It was Saquon. It was Barkley. It was I can't remember his middle name.
I did do that too. I put that in the other one. It's Shayshawn Barkley. Overwhelmingly, Saquon Barkley was the Eagles MVP. He
of course.
Jalen Hurts even said it that he's the one that changed it for us. He was the addition to put him over the top.
Yep.
So I would have to agree with number 1 on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I
like a lot of Miguel's picks. I think he's very accurate.
Yeah, you're pretty accurate. It was actually fun to put together with Mark and Miguel picks. That's kind of
what I love though is that like Miguel is I know the fast players.
I forgot that Miguel. You were also at the break.
Oh yes.
I talked to Mark about it looks like you parked in New Jersey and walked across the Ben Franklin.
Sure did.
So tell us.
Tell us. My sister works for Rutgers University, so she was working for Rutgers campus. She currently works for Rutgers back in Newark now, but her parking tag is valid for that area, and we figured we didn't want to go into the city because of the traffic to get in and out. It was just going to be a headache. So we just figured we'd just walk into the city. No problem. No big deal. We'll get there early. And believe it or not, we got to City Hall and we were right at the front of the gate. We were at the gate. And these 2 girls, decided they wanted to get into a fight. So the police pushed everybody back, kind of blocked off the little area, and then as the parade was starting, they allowed people back to their areas, and we never got back to where we originally started at.
Wow.
Yeah, so that sucked.
That sucks.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely double the amount. I don't know if the numbers ever came out how many people were there.
You say million and a half.
Yeah, so it was definitely like double the amount of people that were there last time because it was just the SEPTA lines were fucking ridiculous. Just everything. Like we walked to get some cheesesteak. Like we were gonna go down to watch the speeches, but we were like, what's the point? We could watch it better on our TV, on our phones, walking back to the car than we would ever get close to the stadium, to the field.
Your phone's is big. It's really good to watch.
Yeah.
Right. But I must say that freaking mayor of Philadelphia really took the air out of the whole moment. It was like, shut up. I think some people were even like, wrap it up. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like she really decided to make it about her in the city instead of the Eagles. Like, we didn't need you to recap the season. We've lived the season. We're going to recap it a million times before the next season comes. We don't need you to recap it for us. Just say what you got to say, congratulate the Eagles, and get off the goddamn stage.
Agreed.
To be honest, the more she speaks, the more I A, wonder how she got elected, and B, just how bad is Philly education.
Right.
Like,
she was up there way too long. Way up there
too long. Her words didn't always make sense. It was like,
and that's what I think contributed to her long speech, is that she was trying to make up for misspelling Eagles at the beginning of the
how do you, bro?
She got wrapped up into it. She got wrapped up.
Yeah, she sure did.
Thanks, Miguel. Yeah, so you did walk across. So
That's impressive. I give you props for that walk, my guy. I took the train down. I walked a couple blocks and was like, "We're set."
Yeah,
that's
but you
wild.
waited in that long ass line to get back too, didn't you?
Well, I did. I did not get home till late. That line was insane.
That's what I told the guys. I was like, listen, if we walk towards the art museum, chances are we're not getting home until midnight.
Yeah.
You know, my brother has a soon to be 1-year-old. So
Yeah. No.
So where'd you end up standing? I meant to ask.
We're at City Hall.
All right, so you and me were very close,
Mhm.
and I should have texted you. My thought process was he's probably at the art museum. I'm not going to bother. Yeah, I went right in, and right where City Hall was, there's that big screen right there for that. If you went like just to the right where the parade went by, I was right there.
Okay, yeah, so we were close.
Yeah,
Wow,
you saw the football
crazy.
going back and forth across.
Yeah.
So I caught it once. It hit my sister in the head once.
Yeah, I was gonna say we watched somebody get pegged with that ball.
Yeah,
that was
That's his sister.
I was
That's
there.
his sister.
possibly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a good time. I didn't have to. There was like one near fight near me. Nothing major, just two guys yelling at each other because they're stupid. You know, I saw some woman like pass out at the end. You know, they were yelling for the medic.
No.
But other than that, it was a good time. Go Birds!
Yeah. And then there was like the rumor, that there was a shooting at the parade, but it was away from the parade. It wasn't even at the parade. It was like down the street.
Oh, it had nothing to do with the parade. It was just it happened during the parade.
Right.
Yeah. That's
It's how they frame it. It's how
in
they
the story to make Eagles look bad, make Philly look bad.
They have to make us look bad. Bad Eagles, bad Philadelphia city.
Yeah.
Democratic city, so they got to make it look bad. You know what I mean?
But look, hey, I don't know if you remember, but when the Chicago Bulls are winning all those championships, they were burning down the city, and they had people with like automatic weapons in front of different housings and different stores. Nothing like different like Philadelphia, no different.
Right.
So it happens in other cities. It's
worse in other cities, but for some reason in Philadelphia, it's like double time.
Yeah.
Like I've heard stories like when the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants play, and then they stab each other in the parking lot.
Yeah,
that doesn't get brought up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
people pushing people into the elevator shafts so they fall down and kill themselves. Or
yes.
I mean, but Philly gets the bad rap.
Yeah.
I never understand it.
You know what? No one likes us.
No one likes us.
We don't care.
We don't care. But before we wrap this up, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike and Mark, I got one thing that I've had this on my mind for the last 2 weeks, and it's if we're trading for anyone, right? Because we have all this whole Myles Garrett situation going on.
Yeah.
If the trade compensatory stuff, I guess what I'm trying to say, like
compensation,
compensation is all equal, right? Would you got to pick one? Would you prefer Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, or Micah Parsons?
Parsons. Not a long time. He's younger. Crosby's 30, Garrett's 31, Parsons is
Garrett's
25.
Garrett's 29.
29. All right. And then Crosby, I think, is 28. I think Garrett's the oldest. I think Parsons is like 24, 25.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm going with age.
Yeah, I actually, I do want Myles Garrett.
And it also, he's 25, and it also hurts Dallas more.
Yeah, but I think.
But then Garrett also ends up on Washington.
That's okay. I don't mind that
for the next 5 years.
Right.
See, it's like, okay, they have Garrett. We have Jalen Carter, Micah Parsons, Nolan Smith. Like, I'm winning. Like,
see, Micah Parsons got hurt last year. Like,
he played for the Cowboys, man. What do you expect? I pretend I'm hurt too. The man wears more Philly jerseys than he does Dallas jerseys, my guy.
I hear it.
You see him in a Mavs jersey? No. You see him.
AJ Brown. Did you hear what AJ Brown said? AJ Brown said he really goes, Michael Parsons wants to be an Eagle. He just wants to be an Eagle. He loves Philadelphia. He goes, he loves Philadelphia.
That's funny.
It is
Man.
so funny.
He's not as stupid as Jared Verse, who was on Hey Philadelphia. He get beat.
Yeah, he looked like a fool.
Saquon made him.
He played well
bad.
though. He played well though. That's the thing. He was
Defensive
able.
player of the year or something like that.
He did. He
He was
did.
a rookie of the year, right?
Yeah.
Defensive rookie of the year. You got.
Oh, Lonnie.
So that's it, guys. That's our third season in the books. Another, this is our third season, 2 times in the Super Bowl. We're 1-1 as a podcast in the Super Bowl. Pretty good. I like that.
I'll take it.
It's been a lot of fun. This is closing the book on season 3. We'll start season 4 in a few weeks. I appreciate our listeners. I appreciate our followers. I appreciate you guys coming on here at 11:30 at night to almost 1 o'clock in the morning talking Eagles football all year.
Thanks to Miguel's schedule,
Hey,
I'm sure
it'll change again, and we'll work around it and get it, and so we all can be here together. So I appreciate all of you guys and what you do to be here to chat Eagles with me on something that we don't necessarily have to do. You don't get paid for this. You don't. You just come on
talking about Eagles football. That's all we like to do.
One day we will sit at a table and we'll talk about it in person.
We will. We will. It's happening.
You know how we do. EAGLES.
Eagles.
Let's go, Birds.
Hey, Mike, how do we end this one?
Yeah.
We are the champions. That's all.
We are the champions.
Everything as always.
Go Birds.
Champions, the best part of me, here to catch me through the bad times. Like the truth we see, you stay in my mind like a fantasy. As the world turns round, time is standing still. If it ever ends, we'll do it again. As the world turns round,